Yo, what's up, guys? Content that we will get next is galleros. So galleros is something that we haven't seen yet. If you are familiar with Summoners War Sky Arena, I can kind of say that it's similar towards the AC collab dungeon, but then way cooler. So this was actually released before that, and I think the AC collab dungeon kind of just took an idea of this and then kind of made it really boring because it was too easy. But this one is actually very nice. So let me talk about how this works. So first of all, we have to select 30 units that we want to use in Galagos. This is a time-based thing that I think it resets every month, if I'm not mistaken, maybe every 15 days. We will see that at some point, I think. But you have to add in all of your units that you want to use in here. It gives you a few restrictions of things that you have to be putting in there, but it doesn't mean that you have to use them all the time or they have to be a certain power or anything like that. So what you mainly want to put in here is definitely your support units. So definitely units that are 4-star that are good supports, for example, like Chloe, Lulu. Even if you don't really have a Lulu build, I would probably still recommend you to put Lulu in if you don't have that many units built yet. Viva Chill, all of those things, Celia, those kind of supports you definitely want to put in there. Sure, it's asking for like assassins, you put some in there, like we don't really have good assassins that much. In this case, I don't really have too many units that are really good, so I'm just gonna add in like all of the units that are kind of built, ruined, whatever. But in EU, I will actually give more of a check, like, okay, maybe there are some certain units that are not really built, but I can build them on the fly if I need them. Like, for example, Jasun, or this thing is a healer, that's a revive or a healer. So in most cases, what I notice is that supports are pretty useful because most of the things, at least for Orbia, I'm not really sure if it's different for the other characters. I also think that this content is easiest for Orbia by far because it's a lot of based on like your main summoner rather than the monsters around you, which I will talk about in a second because it sounds maybe pretty weird. It's like, hey, you're adding all kinds of monsters. Why do you not care about monsters? Well, I don't really have too many monsters here, so I'm just going to select this. So what is Galagos Ruin? So first of all, we have different floors and different paths. Different paths say what kind of dungeon we will have to fight or how that will work. We have a bunch of things. First of all, we have a shop. In this shop, you can buy a bunch of things from Galagos points. And you can buy things like pieces for a light and darkness legendary scroll. I don't really like this one too much because it's fairly expensive and you can still get LD Force on it, which technically you can get from a no scroll. So I don't know. LD scroll seems pretty expensive as well. You have a Devilmon. Devilmon is always good. 4-star Devilmon, I think it's kind of pricey here. The refinement crystal is definitely something you do want to get. These seem pretty expensive as well. I'm not sure if you get a lot of points because currently it is easier to get those points than it used to be when Galagos was first released. We have an outfit here, of course, that gives HP for swimmer or for that gets HP for support type. It's not too bad, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, main thing from the shop that you want to buy first is the refinement crystal, then the Devilmon, and afterwards you can kind of see like whether you go for like LDs or you go for Ds or anything like that. Maybe you even want to test out your chances of getting gold. Probably with this gold, you just get the 5k, you don't get any higher. But that is pretty much what you have from the shop over there. Then we have a few extra things, which is what are the requirements for Galagos this month? So Galagos apparently is resetting in a day and a half. We see a few extra things, and that is that your summoner damage dealt is higher with a certain element. That element rotates every time. So this time it's fire, so you want to use your fire main weapon to clear these units. Also, fire units are increased for damage dealt, and then for creatures, so that's the enemy dark creatures do extra damage on you. You can give penalties of how much more rewards you want to get from Galagos. I'm not entirely sure if we get this right away in global because in the first release of Galagos, NA didn't have this as well. And as far as I know, you can put like the highest difficulty. So you can put like, okay, I want to get like as many of these refinement stones extra. You could go for gold here, but I kind of recommend to go for like refinement stones. We add in all of that kind of stuff and we start getting all of those things. You can do that for everything. You get more Galagos points with that. You get more refinement stones with that. You get like all kinds of extra stuff that you could say like, okay, we're going to make this very difficult for myself. As far as I know, it is possible to reset this thing. So the moment you start going through the whole thing and you notice like, okay, I put the requirements way too difficult. I have to turn it down to at least clear all of this because this is floor 1. You go to floor 2, 3, and 4. And from that, at some point, you'll be able to clear the whole thing. So as far as I know, you can put the requirements very high at start. and then just the moment you see like, okay, cleared, reset the thing and then do it easy. So in this case, I'm not really going to add any of those because I'm just going to skip through like a few stages pretty fast and just show what kind of stages are there and that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna make it easy for myself, but rewards. Then I can also see the HP bars of all of my units. And the thing is, if you take a unit into battle, it will lose HP bar the moment you go out of that battle. It doesn't mean if you clear it or don't clear it, you will lose HP. Also, probably if you leave halfway in the thing or you disconnect, you will lose HP. It's not about the unit actually losing HP or dying or anything. No, it will just lose a certain percentage of HP every time you take the unit into the thing. So therefore, you have 30 units with you that you can choose from, but you want to use as little HP on units as far as possible. So actually, if you're pretty high on power, you can do all of the waves just with your main character without any units, probably up until like floor 3, maybe even floor 4 if you're pretty far in the game already. So that is definitely something you want to do. And then you also see like what kind of things did you do for a research collection, but we will see that in a second. So in this case, definitely never go in the first time with units, always go in without units. So just use your main character. So in this case, I know that fire is doing the more damage. These stats are actually horrible. My Orbia on NA or on EU is already way better actually. But just to show like a few stages, how does it look like? So in this case, we have a first stage, and the first stage is just a selection stage from what it seems. So in this one, you can always grab buffs. Do not be like me the first time walking in this portal right away, because that ends the stage. You actually want to walk through these stone statues. Sometimes there's multiple stone statues open, and with that you can get like a certain buff. I did notice the first walkthrough I focused a lot on like, oh, monsters, more defense, that seems nice. But most of the things you actually do with your summoner. So it kind of depends on what debuffs you have, what kind of things are useful. In this case, let's say I have pretty high AC. I don't really need high AC on the summoner. I can just say like, okay, monster defense, so they don't instantly die. I will get that buff throughout the whole of the Galagos season right now. And then by ending the stage, I just go for that one, and that is that. Then I can choose a path of which stage I want to do. In this case, it's not too much interesting of like, okay, what kind of paths are useful, because it kind of ends up with the same. Like this case, we have a battle one, we have a select or a stone one over here, we have another battle one over there. Then we have like the choice either for one of those two, which is stone again. But here comes the actual choice, which is certain storage supplies or a merchant. The merchant always sells stuff for crystals and is not always that good. But I'm just going to go through like a few of those stages and show you what's up. So in this case, we have a bunch of monsters. We got a bunch of rewards. Of course, those rewards are more the moment you have higher penalties that you put to yourself. But let's look at the first stage for these monsters. What do they actually look like? I think I could probably like kind of one-shot most of this here. Like it doesn't do all too much. Orbia Dark is very good in this because if you switch to Orbia Dark, you can actually use your S2 for example, the rest down, and you can use Orbia as one for recovering. But as you can see, besides just getting traits of getting like certain EXP or like certain HP up or defense up or whatnot up, you can also get like special traits that, for example, if you auto hit, you have a chance to stun, or I don't even know what's in there. So yeah, these are fires. If you're a cleave, you walk in the fire, like play it like a true cleave. If you're an Orbia, you probably don't want to walk in the fire like that. You could in early stages say like, okay, I kind of want to mob everything, and then when mobbing everything, I kill everything. But as you can see, I am not that strong in here and actually take quite a few hits already. So probably you don't really want to do that. And I feel like that this Galagos is a lot more difficult than it was in the previous ones. But it also really depends, like in Galagos, what kind of buffs could you take along the line. Like if you get some really strong buffs towards your summoner, it makes it so much easier for your summoner to just clear this whole thing. Plus, I must say my summoner is not that strong on the NA server. You also have these things that push you back. They can be pretty annoying. You have certain stages where, you have certain stages where you actually have like a parkour kind of jump quest, Maple Story style, that you have to get through all of these things. Avoid them. They're fucking annoying. Like I think they nerfed them because everyone said like, yo, this shit fucking annoying. But yeah, in most cases, you can kind of take your time to clear all of these things somewhat. You have a time limit of 10 minutes, so at some point you kind of have to be careful. Like, okay, do I not hella go over the time limit? when I just really take my time to clear all of these things one by one, and maybe I have to do some more mobbing and clear it that way. But that is just kind of depending on like how strong your summoner is. So in this case, I don't have any penalties, so it's still relatively easy. I notice my damage is not that much, but I can kind of get along with just killing these things slowly on. And I want to clear one of these stages and then show you what kind of rewards are. Okay, so that was end of the stage. I thought it went further than that, but here you can already see like, okay, I can go for Summoner Accuracy again, Summoner Precision, or Summoner Attack. That's quite a lot of attack, so just gonna go for that attack, and that will actually make my next stage a lot easier as well. We see what kind of rewards we get, and then we can only, since I choose the bottom one, I only have one choice. Well, these are all kind of the same, so it doesn't really matter what I do. This is once again that stage where you can just choose a specific buff. If you are lucky, you can get multiple doors open. So in this case, there's only one door open, so I can only go for that one. Once again, don't jump in. So here we can see Summoner HP by quite a lot, defense or crit damage. So in this case, I'm going to go for crit damage. I could go for the HP of survivability, but it's kind of up to you, like what you like to do. In the case of Orbia, if I do more damage with like Orbia Dark, for example, I also heal more, so why not? So in this case, we have like a stage once again where we just have to kill certain shit. So we're just going to kill certain shit. And once again, the stage layout are slightly different every time, and also how far you have to go in the stage also differs from like how many floors you already did. So the previous one, you actually saw that there were more platforms going down than as far as I had to clear. That is because I'm still on floor 1. If I'm not mistaken, in this case, you can go all the way down there, which you have to go all the way around pretty much. You can get there, but that means also that you are at a higher floor. But as you can see, for me right now, like I had struggles killing the first few floors, and currently I'm just pretty much one-shotting everything. Why? Because I got certain buffs from Galagos already, and those buffs just make me do a lot more damage. If I would fully die, I am actually fully dead, so I kind of have to be careful here. And if I use some Orbia as 1 to life drain later on, it will be fine. So in this case, you also have like kind of these parkour platform kind of nonsense. So you kind of want to be careful with doing those things. And I should be healing on dark, don't I? Why am I not healing on dark? You can use potions here. I should be hella healing. But I'm already done with the stage over there. So I'm just going to wait out until I have my skill cooldowns. Then use an S2 on that one, use an S3 on that one. But I'm surprised why my dark didn't heal. So in this case, we just S3 on that one, kind of clear it. We got like the passive thing. Oh wait, I didn't have my S3 up yet. Whoops. Can we get my S3 up in time? I don't think so. Okay, then we also can see what the death happens. So if you die in this, it's no issue. You don't lose any EXP. You can just try the stage again. That's as simple as it is. You can just try the stage again. Apparently I had a suck and I already died on this stage. But you have to start from the beginning. If you had units with you, then it also does mean that those units would lose HP. So let's actually, just to speed up things, I'm going to select my Keramet in here. I am going to give him the normal set that I use because I don't really care about clearing this whole thing of Galagos anyways at the moment, this account. But definitely something you don't want to do on the global server or like in main general in Galagos. You don't want to really waste like the HP of your units right away. So here's some HP down right now. That is just because I switched the rules. Like it's nothing specifically besides just switching the rules. And as you can see, Keramet's destroying everything because it's my only unit that's actually properly built, I would say. And I'm kind of playing it like a true cleave of standing in every fire possible. But as you can see, my unit does take quite a bunch of hits, and it actually already died. So therefore, DPS units are kind of cool here, maybe kind of for Kina, more or less. But for Orbia, I noticed a lot of the healing units is really what helps you out. And I'm actually playing this like freaking terribly right now. So, wait, do I get aggro these other ones again as well? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I thought I wouldn't aggro those, which is not great. Okay, in this case, I had that skill up, so that helps out. And with that, we clear the stage. So actually, I'm really sucking at this already. So in this case, I would say like, okay, I need some more Summoner HP, and let's add in that. So I'm just going, and as you can see, Karambit loses, I think like 25 or 15% HP per stage that you do. You do want to keep your units as long as possible. So in this case, we have a selection stage again. I'm not sure if you select your units in a selection stage, um, if they still lose HP, or this is a question mark stage. What is it actually? Not sure. And now this is actually a selection stage. So still unlucky, only getting one door open. If you get the other doors open, you get like more buffs. But yeah, you definitely want to choose wisely with what kind of buffs you have, because some of them might be very good. Currently, it's all like the lowest tier, but at some point you get like quite higher tiers up. So in this case, monster damage, monster evasion, monster precision. Let's say monster evasion. But none of these were like really good. So your Galagos season is also somewhat dependent on like, okay, what kind of buffs did you get? And in this case, we actually had one that is a merchant, and we didn't get the one with the supplies. I think in this case, well, I just wanted to show the merchant, but the supplies one might actually be more interesting. But I've seen that if you get supplies, you get like the lowest tiers of gems and that kind of nonsense. So that's also not really that useful all the time. So let's see. Happy Ghost Merchant. What do you have for me? So, okay, that's like a light and dark scroll for quite a bunch of gold. And then you can also have like certain runes. And you can actually check the rune stats, which in this case are 6-star runes, which is just pretty legit of runes that it has in here. Holy fuck. These are actually like sure, it's pretty costly, like 800 crystals, but these are pretty legit runes that he's holding, like because it's all like HP percent and that kind of stuff. This doesn't really make too much sense for this one, but this one is not bad, and this one is also not bad. So just for the sake of it, we're going to buy that. I barely have crystals here, but that's anything that you can do in this stage right now. So then we end up at the boss stage. At the boss stage, you also get your preservation stones, which is very nice. And in the boss stage, you actually have to kill these bosses that you are familiar with from Path of Growth. In this case, you kind of probably want to add in like a unit like Chloe, because you can probably solo this if you have high enough power. Currently, I just don't really want to struggle. So I'm actually just going to add in Chloe. And Chloe is one of the best units in Galagos. So definitely always take your Chloe to Galagos. And with that, you can see like, okay, I have to clear that unit, but I can just spam Fanatic and I'm good to go that way, probably. So in this case, let's see if I can clear it on the first try. I do notice that Galagos looks like it became more difficult, but okay, I do quite a decent amount of damage on this thing, so it doesn't seem too bad. And yeah, like I said, just spamming Fanatic like a pro. Or not even like a pro, just like an idiot, spamming Fanatic. You shouldn't even be using units here already, but I do. And we have to fight a Rhodos, and I really hate Rhodos. And definitely for this one, I don't mind to have a Chloe in. But I could have totally soloed this without Chloe. But yeah, it's just, it makes your life somewhat easier to do it. And since I'm just making a video, I'm not planning to finish all of Galagos in here. I just use my units. When I play this on the global server, on my EU account, I will definitely solo all of this. Probably even all the way to like floor 3 if I can make it. Like that's my goal. Floor 3 without any units, like finishing floor 3. Well, here you can see like more specific things. So we have like mage type, monsters, and support type. If I'm not mistaken, I will have to double check with someone from NA and I will let it know. Well, just put it on screen somewhere. But mage type counts for Orbia. Knight type counts for Cleave. And probably support type counts for Kina. So if I do mage type freeze on an attack with a certain chance, well, we can actually just test this. This will count for Orbia as well. So don't just think like, oh, I don't really use mages, but I'm Orbia main, like, it doesn't really make sense. This is actually pretty useful. Revive doesn't really help for like just reviving on that one thing specifically. So let's actually see if this works. So we get our rewards there. We can see that our Chloe HP went down. And then we can see the next floor. So there's 4 floors in total. And in this one, it's also more of a choice of like, okay, what do you want to do? Because we see a bunch more different things here. We see trap sector. Avoid those. Those are fucking annoying. Like I said, you have a bunch of spikes. You have a bunch of those things that push you back. And you have to walk like a parkour thing. And if you think Sunken was annoying for that small parkour shit you have to do there, it's Sunken times 10, maybe times 20, and you have to do 3 in a row. This shit is fucking annoying. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I would hella recommend to avoid those. So I would go for the boss in here. Then we also have this one, which is the Ancient Vault, which I will show in a second then. But therefore you can kind of choose your path, like saying like, okay, I get a buff from this one, I get a buff from this one. Here I don't get anything, so I maybe want to select this or this, so I get the buff from that, but I think it's actually fine. Then we get that over here, and then we have a question mark, and a question mark could be anything. So that could be your trap thing as well. So sometimes you have to clear traps, which is just annoying, but yeah, that's just that. Also, you can see that the recommended power also increases by quite a bit already. For me, just to blast through this shit a little bit faster than me having to spend like 2 hours to make this video, I am actually going to put some better runes to this and just, well, pretty much blast through all of these stages with some decent units. Did I not select my Bastet? Apparently I did not select my Bastet, fuck. So yeah, you definitely do want to double check that you put all of your good units in this shit. Celia is a very good unit for this actually, but you definitely want to double check that hey, did I put all of my good units that I use, that are ruined, that are, well, not even ruined because you can switch the runes around. That you just use that they are in the thing. But yeah, in this case, I have a Lydia, and that kind of helps out as well. So Lydia is, I would say, pretty strong for this probably. Yeah, okay, Lydia's fucking strong for this. Holy shit, she does so much damage. Yeah, Lydia's pretty much the only unit I'm like, why did I pull that on this account and not on EU? And I literally pulled it like a week before EU started or some shit. We also do see while Lydia killed herself on these other units. So yeah, if you have those units in there, like these things that explode, you probably recognize them from TOA stuff. Those can be pretty annoying. Also, in this case, I guess the stage goes further than what it would look like on the first floor. So in this case, if you have a Kina Dark, you can actually revive and stuff, which is pretty nice. But since I don't have, you could switch in a unit as a reviver and then revive a unit. But then your revive unit would also take HP. So the moment you use your unit in the fight, even for like a second, you will lose HP on that. So you have to be careful. It's like, okay, what kind of units do I bring in at what moment, where, when, and how? So in this case, we just clear those things. Does the stage end there? No, stage ends a little bit further. But in this case, since I have my healers in, I can just more or less just spam through my shit and get it done that way. I am not entirely sure that if you reset your Galagos, maybe you also get your units back. But you don't get the rewards double, as far as I know. You can choose different paths, and therefore you can choose like, okay, I missed like some of the shops, and you can still do the shops if I'm not mistaken. Like, don't add me if I'm wrong on that, but I think someone from NA told me something similar like that. So in this case, we pretty much just burst our way through. I'm also not 100% sure if Lydia, since she actually fully died, loses more HP right now. I don't think so. I think it doesn't matter. It's still the same amount, it's just used in the battle, and used in the battle means certain amount of HP loss for Galagos season. Okay, then we have a bunch of rewards. Oh, actually, I didn't check if I get that frozen thing last time, which I will check now. Applies continuous recover HP. Okay, that's an option. Support types, defense taken down on itself. Yeah, so for this one, it's kind of like, okay, do you choose something that's support specific or something that's for all monsters? Well, might as well go for all monsters then. And yes, we can see like it's the exact same loss for all of them. So in this case, I will choose the boss, and oh wait, I still have to do this one. So here I have to make a choice. Do I want to go for those trap things? No, I do not. I'm also not going to show you the traps because fuck the traps. Those things are just highly fucking annoying. You will notice it at some point. Like, it's not impossible to beat. It's just annoying. You get slowed by life, and you have just so many things that you will have to look at, and it's just annoying. I don't want to do it. Probably I will have to do it at some point on EU, but I just don't like it. Probably you also get used to it at some point and then it's not that bad, but I still don't. Yeah, as you can see here, there's also already a bunch of those wind blower things. Imagine that you have to walk over there and then there's a whole line of like wind blowers and they blow you every direction with all kinds of pins. And while there's also pins, you also have like things falling from the sky to slow you, and then holes in the floor that are like ice, and those draw you to those things and then slow you again. Good luck running. If you do want to do them, like keep in mind that you have 3 dodges. I would save up all your 3 dodges, and the moment your 3 dodges are there, then just start dodging through the thing. And that's probably your best way to actually get through that whole stage. So yeah, Lydia OP. Okay, that's another one done. I still didn't check if I can freeze, if I can freeze things with auto attacks. So we have a bunch of things. Whole team less damage from wind effect. Not useful. Summoner. Apply a thirst on itself. Critical hits. Death down. Sounds useful. Increase damage below certain HP. Don't like it. So yeah, now we can choose for a trap. And the trap will lead into a choice of a buff, but killing a boss would for sure give you a buff. So I'd definitely go for the boss. And the boss stage is not like one of those boss stages that you saw all the way at the end, like with the previous one. It's just one 5-star unit that is the boss in here or something like that. Or 2 5-star units in most cases. With different elements. And then the stage looks something similar like this again. So nothing too special. Just a lot of stages. Yeah, and here you can see like these boss units. So these are just the units you're familiar with in this stage over here. We could actually lead the ult, which is insta-killer. These are the things that I talked about that you will see in the trap rooms. So in the trap rooms, you will see those, and those actually pull you, or... Can you maybe not sleep me for like an eternity? Thank you. Appreciate that. Holy shit, this sleep is long. He's slowly going to kill my Lydia, isn't he? The fuck is this nonsense? Okay, apparently we're out. Holy Jesus, well, that's a dead unit right there. Okay, what a nonsense unit was that? Holy shit. So yeah, sometimes it's kind of difficult. Also, if I want to choose the other thing right now, it's not possible. But yeah, if you stand in here, you get pulled in those. You want to walk away, you get pulled in that. So imagine that with a bunch of wind blows, with a bunch of falling rocks that also slow you and shit. And the only way you get out of this is actually by double dodging, or just, well, one dodge is enough. But yeah, imagine having to do that like 10 times over. That's just not fun. I did hear that they were planning to nerf it to not make it as tedious and annoying as it used to be, so I'm not sure if they already did that. But yeah, still recommend you not to go for these freaking parkour kind of runs. Well, I do notice that this is already so much harder than it used to be in during release. So maybe with 6-star runes being there, they actually upgraded the difficulty of this. I'm not entirely sure, because I feel like at floor 2, I'm kind of already struggling, whereas before I could clear floor 2 pretty easily, and floor 3 I had to start using units. But if you're pretty high up there, you probably only have to start using units at floor 4. It just takes you a little bit more to clear all of this, and maybe like a few extra tries to do that. Also, if you are on floor 4 and you can still go in with just your main character, and then check with your main character, like, okay, what kind of units are there? What do I have to care for? And then based on that, you decide, like, okay, which units do I actually bring into the fight, rather than straight away going in like, oh, I'm gonna use Bastet and shit. Whereas you don't even know if you need Bastet or anything like that. So, okay, that was a way to clear it a lot faster. So we have monster attack speed up or accuracy on... So in this case, bunch of options. Left one or the right one. Because middle one, I don't really use that many assassins. I just go for this one. Okay, so in this case, we will have the Vault. And in this case, I actually am going to test if I take a unit, if it loses HP in this. Because I don't think it does. But maybe it does, and therefore you should always go in this one alone. Because maybe it just does. So in this one, you have a bunch of those treasure chests, and might look pretty interesting, but 9 out of 10 from what I've seen is you get absolute nonsense. Like, look at that shit, man. You don't need that. Freaking tier 1, tier 2 gems. The fuck? I'm gonna give like a bunch of breath of lives and shit like that. Like, light essences 6. Like, you want to avoid these. Like, I think they can probably give something useful, but this is just a whole bunch of nonsense. So I would recommend to avoid these treasure chests things because you don't really want to get this kind of reward, right? It's absolutely bullshit. So in this case, you can choose like, okay, do I want to fight and therefore get a buff, or do I just want to get buff? But if you fight, you get rewards. So in this case, just to get through it pretty fast, I'm just gonna get for the buffs, and I think Mycelia didn't take any damage while doing so. So that's kind of where you can make the choice. Like on EU, I will probably say like, okay, I am going to fight and get buffs. But there is a chance, as you can see over here, I would only have one buff at the fight stage. In this case, I have 2 chances of getting a buff. So it could make it that you can clear this stuff further because of doing that. So in this case, we have for support type, archetype, or monster. I think I will go for this one. At some point, it's also kind of min-maxing. Like, sometimes it's not really obvious which one is better. Sometimes it is. So you kind of have to check, like, okay, what do I use a lot? What would make sense that I have as addition? In this case, we also have a bunch of monster thing. Everything is like monster stuff. Okay, increase attack for every beneficial effect it has. I don't really use that many beneficial effects. Neglect skill damage. That is not bad actually, but I'm gonna go for this, I guess. Well, I guess skill damage negation is probably better. And then we have to clear another boss. Then we have question mark, and then we have finals. So yeah, that pretty much goes all for Galagos. I think I showed most things that are to it. You get like a bunch of those Galagos things for the shop. With those things for the shop, you can decide like, okay, what do I want to buy? What is useful for you? Definitely, I always recommend to go for these refinement crystals. Those are very useful. Apparently, you get more Galagos stones than I thought because I already got quite some. But if you want to use these, I think it's 30 pieces for 1 scroll. So that's for sure 3 seasons already. So that's 3 months. So in 3 months, you get 1 L&D 4-star scroll, which I think I'm not really sure if I really like that idea that much. But it is an option to get it. Like technically, you can buy 9 LD scrolls on that same behalf. So I think 9 LD scrolls kind of beat this, in my opinion. But yeah, that's just something you have to min-max on what it is for you. Yeah, and just like be safe with your units. You can check what kind of buffs you have over here, so what's kind of useful. You can check what units you have, how much HP they have, but the moment a unit has 0 HP, you cannot use them anymore. I do want to check that if I reset it, I will reset the monster energy, as energy called in here rather than that. Previously, you get rewards, you cannot do them again. So let's say you wasted a bunch of units and you feel like, oh, I could actually get further if I don't waste those units early on, or I get like better buffs. You have 1 chance to reset the Galagos thing. So that is definitely something that you could decide to do as well. So that's pretty much most there is to Galagos. Play it slowly. You don't have to clear it in 1 day. Just feel like, okay, what works for you? What units work for you? Can I go in without my units? First going in with the other units and then going in with units. And the less units you get, the further you clear, the higher the chances that you can clear all the way to floor 10. I think it's like 10-4 at something at the end. Or at the end, it's like, yeah, it's like 4-10, and then like you clear this one. So especially you want to clear those because it gives the preservation stones. And as you maybe have noticed if you did some re-upping already, this shit is expensive to craft. So the more you get of those, the better it is. Well, the more you get of those, the more rewards you get. Pretty much everything. You also get a bunch of gold and whatnot kind of stuff. So Galagos is definitely a very good dungeon for a lot of resources, but it might be a little bit hard at the start, but you will get through it at some. Okay, one more thing that I didn't test yet is if that mage thing still counts for Orbia as mage. So technically on attacks that mages do, I should be able to freeze. Can I freeze with my auto attacks right here? Doesn't really seem that way. Did they nerf it? I'm not sure if they changed it. But technically with auto attacks, I should be able to freeze it. Like, I don't know what kind of rate, because mages, or maybe it's with skills. I'm not sure. Let's see if I burst some skills off, if I can actually... Can I? Yeah, I can freeze. Okay, so it was only with skills. So it was not on auto attacks, it's just on skills. So yeah, once again, if you put something for mage, mage counts for Orbia. If you put something for knights, that counts for cleave. If you put something for supports, it counts for Kina. So definitely keep that in mind when choosing certain buffs, that you have those usabilities of getting those things in as well. And with that, you can just add in like a whole bunch of extra stats, boosts, and whatnot. So yeah, that's my video for Galagos. I hope you enjoyed this video. Tomorrow will be the video about Marsh as well, which will be the raid that is added to that update as well. I think, I hope, I pray. I haven't seen it being confirmed yet, but I do know 100% that Galagos will be added on Thursday. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you can subscribe to the channel and like this video as well. And see you in the next one.